Okay, you can start now.
Okay, good morning everyone. I'm very happy to welcome you to this, I will say, last one-to-one webinar of the SocialRES project. Just for information, Alice, I see your screen, but I hope it's fine like that. I see the icons name. Just to check if I'm wrong.
Yes, this is strange.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing the screen actually now.
Yes. Okay, I keep talking. Maybe then it will be better later. Welcome to this one-to-one webinar of the SocialRES project. As I said, this is the last one-to-one webinar because we will have the final SocialRES webinar soon. We will let you know when will be the date. This will be by the end of this year. I'm Silvia Caneva. I work for WIP Renewable Energies. WIP is the coordinator of the SocialRES project. SocialRES is a project financed by the European Commission. We started in May 2019. We will end now at the end of December 2022. And these almost 4 years, we have really had a lot of activities, as you can imagine. SocialRES is mainly investigating business models for renewable energy aggregators, crowdfunding, energy cooperative, the so name social innovation. I'm very happy to have with me today Volker Kromrey. Volker is the managing director of the Lake Constance Foundation. The Lake Constance Foundation is one of the partners of SocialRES. Volker is here today to provide us with great presentation of energy democracy and the value of exchange and cooperation. You will see how we have collaborated in SocialRES, let's say, among the different partners represented, the cooperative, crowdfunding, and aggregator. But I don't want to say more. Just for information, we are live in LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. So to the person, let's say, following us on the social media, you can also interview with your question. We will check the question. And then for the person that we have here in Zoom, thanks a lot. I kindly ask you to keep your camera and microphone off during the presentation on Volker. And then after his presentation, please, we are more than happy if you have any questions. So I don't talk any longer. I give you the floor to Volker. Volker, thanks a lot for being with us today. So Volker, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Silvia. Yes, hello everybody from my side. I'm happy to have the opportunity here to share our insights of the last 3 years on energy democracy and the value of the exchange that we had with all our cooperation partners. I will try to share my screen just that moment.
I'll let you know when I see it. Yes, I see the screen. If you can have it in presentation mode.
Yes, try so.
Usually it takes a while. Okay. And now I see your next slide. So if you can change in the settings as you have done before. Yes.
Here we go.
Perfect. So Volker, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I'm speaking here on behalf of Lake Constance Foundation. My colleague is also with us here today, Linda Lenson, who also prepared that presentation and together with me, and also participated in the exchange formats of the last months. So first of all, I want to give you a short overview on the next 20 minutes, roughly, what I'm going to talk about. Starting, of course, with the why. Why are we doing this, or were we doing this? Who participated in those activities in our project? What was the whole thing about? What did we do? And how did we do it actually? How did we organize the exchange? And so finally, the outcome, the reason. That's why you will find out in the end of my short presentation. Here we go. Introduction 971, the mutual learning. So that's the numbers that helped me to remember that we were 9 different partners, 9 different case studies from 7 different countries in the EU. And we all had one common goal. We wanted to participate in mutual learning. We wanted to learn from each other, with each other, and try to implement energy democracy in the EU. Who knows it all was a big question. Who's best? Is it aggregators? Is it crowdfunders? Or is it the energy cooperatives? Of course, as all of you know, it's neither nor, it's all of them. We all need each other. Everybody plays a vital part. And we were convinced, and we still are convinced, that all those organizations can learn from each other, can cooperate with each other, and ideally find common business models in the end. The next number is 732 of the study visits. So we plan to have 7 different study visits throughout our project. That was what we started with. We wanted to meet 7 times throughout those 3 years. The plan was to always have 3 of the case studies together, joining in groups to discuss. And each partner should at least participate in 2 of those study visits. The reason of that was that from the beginning we decided we want to minimize travel time, CO2 emissions, and also costs. So we didn't plan to have everybody involved in every study visit, but to share the efforts, have fairly small groups to have a good working atmosphere, and so on. Here you can see who our case studies are, where they're situated. I will share a few words on them with you, but not too much in detail. So we start on the top. Abundance, a crowdfunding platform from the UK, joined us in the project. They made tremendous efforts and success in working with different municipalities, forming community municipality bonds, and offering as the first actually in Europe to offer different methodologies and offering the crowdfunding services for municipalities. Then from Germany, there were 2 cooperatives participating in the program, Biederbach and Elstal in the Black Forest, and Bürgerenergie Bodensee at Lake Constance, also in the south. Both cooperatives with various activities in PV and wind farms, also in water power, so on. We then had Tractable as a case study provider, or a case study from Romania. They are an aggregator and trying to combine and offer the possibilities for individuals to share energy, electricity virtually. We have very interesting partners also from Croatia. Zets, a cooperative in the Green Energy Cooperative in Croatia, and Regea, they jointly also invested in crowdfunding and started a crowdfunding program. We had GoParity from Portugal, a very active crowdfunding platform, also connected to energy cooperative that invests directly in energy projects throughout Portugal. We have Energetica from Spain, also an energy cooperative with a fairly huge or big area that they actually supporting, and many members also offering or selling electricity to their members. And then last but not least, INR from France, southern France, from the Basque Country. There's also an energy cooperative also connected with Energia. So they're on the one hand investing in energy provision, PV parks and so on, but also selling electricity to consumers. So that's basically in one shot what our work has been about. 9 different case studies, and us, Lake Constance Foundation, trying to organize all these mutual learning activities as a first step to make a methodologically sound approach and to structure all our work. We asked everybody of those case studies to perform a SWOT analysis. I'm pretty sure all of you know about SWOT, but I will go into that on the next slide quickly. And then this approach helped us to form the matchmaking. As I said, we only wanted to have groups of 3 case studies on every study visit to meet, so they should have common interests and complementary features. Then we started the organization of the study visits. As I said, we planned 7 different study visits through all the countries. In the end, Corona hit in and we had to change our system and our approach. So we performed 5 different online workshops. And now in the end, finally in 2022, we also had 2 real-life study visits where we could get closer to our original concept. All this will terminate soon in November, when we will finalize the whole process with a hackathon, a workshop format where everybody is jointly coming together, our case studies, all of them, and also our research partners. So what did we do? We decided on the SWOT analysis as a common and well-known tool. But we adapted it in certain ways to our goals, and we gave quite clear instructions on how to perform ideally this SWOT analysis to give us the opportunity as a result to really perform a great matchmaking and to ensure that the right people meet the right people, that they can learn with each other and from each other. So the first step in this process was the common SWOT methodology. We had to adapt it in the SWOT workshops for the individual needs. As you learned already, it's very different. Organizations were differently structured. We wanted, for example, not to have only some office members and project officers in performing that SWOT, but also, if possible, to involve the members or some other bodies, sometimes even external stakeholders, to help them performing their SWOT. The SWOT workshops were implemented then in the different regions, and we had the specific tasks. We asked them to have 7 major categories that we wanted answers on. It was membership, management structures, membership, geographical area of activity, so quite narrow or nationwide, for example, the expertise in different fields, framework conditions in their respective countries, in general, the project management, how developed are their skills and what are their tasks, and last but not least, communication and acceptance within their organization and in the surroundings. Here you can see that very different workshops took place in all those regions, in Spain and Portugal, in Croatia, in Romania, in UK, in Germany, and in France. And everybody adapted that concept a little bit. You see it on the size of the groups, on the technologies or methodologies used. Some worked with flip charts, some with posted sticky notes, some sitting there in the UK with their laptops. Everybody could use the approach they preferred. And but in the end, the results were very comparable and usable for us. So thanks again for everybody participating so tremendous with so much energy. Here you can see one of the results that we took out of it, and that was in our matchmaking process. So we had to match complementary features, common interests, and so on, and find the right matches. And you see it was fairly easy. We have more than 7 different topics where we had matches of 3 or 4 or 5 of those participating partners. So we could build up on this to finally decide on the topics, on the region, and on the partners. So once we did that, we were keen and wanted to start our study visits. We started planning them. We organized all the setups, the agendas, and so on. And then very suddenly, as you all know, COVID came in, and we had to change our system and our approach. So we developed online formats that were feasible in our point of view, and worked on the different topics. And you see here the topics we finally decided upon. The first workshop was on professional communication to create awareness and to increase profit. This was an online workshop, our first online workshop, with the attendance of 4 different partners. Then the second workshop, again online, was on mobility services as new business model, again with different, in this case, cooperative partners, and again, crowdfunding platform. Our third online workshop was on the cooperation with municipalities. Of course, everybody is in one way or the other cooperating with municipalities. But the ways to do this, the technologies and the intensity were quite different in that. The fourth workshop was on public funding, how that can support professionalization. We had some cooperatives, for example, INR, who's using that quite intensely and so has some paid staff. We, on the other hand, have other cooperatives, the German ones, who at that point didn't use that tool at all, and as a result working more or less free of charge, all of their people, volunteer workers. The fifth workshop was on internal communication. So internal communication, very important to increase member engagement. That was specifically interesting for cooperatives, as they have a huge membership base, and it's not too easy to engage all those members and to get them on board. And then finally, the travel restrictions were loosened a little bit, and we could return to our original intention and have live meetings, multi-day workshops. That we started with excursions, different types of workshops, and on specific selected challenges, and there more or less all of our case studies participated. So we had one in Portugal now in 2022, and then the end of summer 2022 again one in Croatia. Finally, there will be, as I said, the hackathon, which is going to deal with the cooperation models, new and joint business models of all those 3 business forms: cooperatives, crowdfunders, and aggregators. And we're going to meet in Valladolid in Spain. Short impressions on the online workshops. You see here challenges. All of you are used to online workshops, online meetings, and most of you probably have the same experience. It's important, if you don't want to listen but really want to be creative and work together, you have to create a good atmosphere. You have to make the people welcome and comfortable. it's quite tricky to foster creativity. So it's one thing now that I present something to you, but really to jointly work on a topic is online not very easy. And yeah, when you have several hour meetings, maybe it's just about keeping people awake and aware. So we use different tools, interactive elements such as Mentimeter, or different question tools, of course, slides, and finally discussions. When we came back to our study visit approach, we had more time, of course. We had 2 full days, and we really had to start from scratch again. The who's who was very important. Who is actually talking with whom? The people didn't really know each other. They met several times online, but that's completely different, as you can imagine. We had to get everybody on board. What is the topic of this, and why are actually doing this? And we started normally with an excursion to some projects, and getting like an easy step into the topics to everybody to really focus on the topic of that specific workshops. We used then in several workshops the peer counseling methodology. So one of the partners presenting their specific problem and task, and the others working as peers, as counselors, giving their insights, their experiences, sharing, and so on. So that was very valuable, I think. And we finalized the workshop with co-creation workshops, some other methodologies to work on a specific topic that covered problems of nearly all of the partners attending. And of course, again, lots of discussions, feedback rounds, and so on. Here, a short impression on really getting up off their chairs and being active, trying to become creative, and having, as I said, also online, the positive atmosphere. And that was far easier and nicer to do it in person. Yeah, we have already, of course, findings and some preliminary conclusions. And we have this on the topics and on the constellations, and of course on the frameworks. That were the different things that we worked upon. Sure enough, that's what the main thing is. It's about networking and different lessons to learn. The people gave us the feedback. They all learned their lessons. They learned from each other. And they enjoyed networking with the others. Lots of the things couldn't be implemented directly or copied to your own country, but it was a source of inspiration. You saw what other people did, and it was like a little booster for all those active people to meet again other positive people who really try to work and change the lives and their attitudes and work on energy democracy. Sometimes there was direct support because we had some very experienced partners in some topics that could give immediate and direct support to the advice seekers. And even some new project ideas could be developed there for several of the partners and attendants. To be honest, that's why it's in light yellow. What we didn't achieve at that point were working on joint business models, organizing direct cooperation between those very different partners. But that's why we'll have the hackathon, where we intensely work together on exactly those 2 points. They are still open from our point of view. Yeah, then real life or online. Of course, saving a lot of CO2, saving money, saving time by doing it online. But it's all same, but different anyway in the different countries. So in the real life and in the online study visit, we realized both that the organizations face very similar challenges, but there are approaches, positive approaches that actually could still work in many countries. under different circumstances. The legislation is very different in the details, even though everything is EU, all the partners work in the EU or in Europe, as UK is not part of the EU, unfortunately, anymore. So different legislations make it then in the end difficult to just copy things. There's an application possible of the different solutions and approaches, but all the time there will be a need of adaptation of those concepts. Again, a little bit versus real life versus online study visits. So as I said, real life study visits, multi-day events on site, different activities like field trips, like wine tastings or nice social dinners, things like this. So a room for informal and intercultural exchange. On the other hand, online workshops, we had to shorten them to half-day events, about 3 hours. We could also use different methods. Of course, we had to put appropriate breaks in between, not to get the people too tired, but whole different setup. The advantages and disadvantages are numerous. Main change is the low threshold that seems to be there in participating in the online study visits actually didn't work out as we expected. We thought, okay, it's so easy to participate, so there might be far more people attending from the different case studies and so on, also volunteers. That was not the case. Maybe the real life visits, visiting some foreign country, this intercultural exchange is also very attractive. The reactions to changing priorities of those individual organizations is possible, but also it shows a change of topics for organizations is possible. So what that means is we had those fixed groups in the beginning because we had to restrict the number of participants on the original concept to 3 organizations. Now, as we changed to online formats, we could be very flexible and invite just whoever was interested in that topic. So we had not to stick too much to our matchmaking that we started in the first place. And as I said, of course, workshops were less time consuming. The disadvantages of those online meetings were the inspirations and impressions are not real. They're abstract because they're only online. You don't talk to the people directly. You don't get all the impressions. Also, maybe you're still stressed. You're checking emails next to it. Things like this. You're not really focusing on topics as much as in the real life meetings. Of course, there's far less room for interaction between different partners. You don't get to know each other, and so on. As I said, our main outlook, we're gonna continue working on those topics. We still strive to organize joint events, joint business models between those different forms that we have of aggregators, crowdfunders, and cooperatives. And we're gonna meet all in Valladolid in Spain very soon, in a couple of weeks. And as we had now this positive experience, a lot of exchange within the partners, we're very positive that it's gonna be a great working atmosphere and that there's gonna be a good outcome. So thank you for your attention at that point, and I'm looking forward to have some discussion now. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Volker. Yes, indeed, the hackathon, I'm sure will be very nice to be all together there with all the partners of this final exchange. Any question from the participant that I see here in Zoom, connected to Zoom? Please, just you can easily open your microphone and the camera if you should have any question for Volker. If not, I assume, Alicia, Marta, there are no questions from the social media neither, right? Okay, otherwise let me know. I have a question for you, Volker. So during this study visit, you have cooperated with crowdfunders, aggregator, energy cooperative. Do you see the possibility really to cooperate with all of them? I mean, their business model could be that a cooperative will have the support for crowdfunding to get the financing needed, and also for an aggregator, maybe to be able to deal with the electricity market in the future. Now they are quite independent, this business model, but just I would like to know your opinion, based on what you have seen in the discussion during these meetings, study visit.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I'm pretty sure, I'm positive that it's possible. It's tricky, but it's definitely possible, because one of the main things that have to be in place is the common interest. And they're right now in the market, they're separate actors with different agendas, but they're not in concurrence to each other. So they're happy to join forces. And there are specific tasks where the different strengths that they have can be very beneficial for both sides. So crowdfunders, for example, can help aggregate much more money, be an alternative for a bank loan that a cooperative might take over. The aggregators are very valuable in joining forces with them and to strengthen the cooperation and with their members, for example, and they will have skills that a normal cooperative will never have. On the other hand, the cooperatives are very interesting for the other actors, because there's a wide membership and a lot of interested and motivated people.
Yes. Indeed, because in my dream, let's say in the future, is to have one organization offering to the citizens different possibility, because either they prefer to be in a cooperative because maybe they like all this exchange that you have in the annual meeting of the cooperative. Others, they prefer just to invest online with the crowdfunding. Either they have other person, they have a photovoltaic system on the roof, and so they can be contacted by an aggregator. And so it would be very nice to inform the citizens that there are a lot of possibilities, for energy democracy. To have this cooperation among all the actors would be great to really able to address the needs of the citizens, because each citizen has a different needs, as we have seen. Yeah. Okay. Any questions for the participant in Zoom? No. I assume also not from
no
the
question from social media.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So thanks, Volker. I'd like to thank you for this participation, for your time today. As I said, this is the last one-to-one webinars this is the number 13, if I'm not wrong. So we had really a lot of interaction. 13, so with the SocialRES partners in these years. It was very nice to see all the results that they have achieved during the project. We will have the last webinar soon with all the participants, the partners of SocialRES. We will keep you informed. So follow SocialRES on the social media and the website. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, thanks for your time, and thanks for the participants in Zoom and in the social media. Thanks a lot. Have a nice lunch. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. For your information, we are